This conference will now be recorded.
So yesterday we were discussing about what is network load balancer and how network load balancer will work, and also we were discussing about what is DNS and what is Route 53 in AWS. Route 53 is also one service. The way we have a EC2, EC2 is one service, ELB is one service, EFS, EBS, S3, VPC, like this we have services, right? So ELB is also one service, Route 53 also one service. So what is this Route 53? It's a DNS service, domain name registration and domain name service. So we mapped our domains with the load balancers using Route 53. Now I'm able to access my application using this domain. With the help of this domain, I'm able to access this application using one more subdomain. Using this one, I'm able to access other application. But in the background, do we have load balancers mapped with these domains in the Route 53? In the Route 53, we have mapped load balancers with these domains. Is that load balancers have target groups? I mean to say listeners in the load balancer. Is listener is forwarding the traffic to target groups. The target group is nothing but your actual servers. But this time, how many load balancers I have for two different applications? How many load balancers I have? How many load balancers I have for two different applications? Two load balancers. Now, as I already told, within this load balancer, will I able to differentiate in the same listener? In the same listener, will I able to differentiate whether request is coming for this application, whether request is coming for this application or other application? Will I able to differentiate? No. But if required, can I create another listener and do that? Which means, can I create a one more listener in the same load balancer? But will I able to create again one more listener on same port, default port 80? No. But instead of that port, if I try to create a different port, do I need to use this port also along with my domain here? Do I need to use that port also like this? I can create a listener, one more listener like this. I can forward this to this traffic, this load balancer, this target group. But do I need to use this one along with your domain? Yes. But in the same listener, default listener, will I able to differentiate whether it has to route the traffic to this one or other one? No. That is network load balancer. Because in network load balancer, on what layer that network load balancer will work? Layer 4. Layer 4, that is transport layer. Transport layer. Now, as we already discussed, this network load balancer operates at network load balancer operates at connection level. It is going to routing connection to the TCP targets. I mean to say it is going to work at a connection level. This routing is going to happen based on what? Based on the IP protocol, based on the TCP IP and TCP and IP. It is like a port to port mapping. But network load balancer is capable of handling millions of requests. Network load balancer is capable of handling millions of requests per second. This network load balancer is optimized to handle sudden and volatile traffic patterns, which means even though all of a sudden lot of people are accessing your application via load balancer, does your load balancer is capable of handling lot of requests, millions of requests per second also. Yes, it has capable of handling millions of requests per second. It will maintain very low latency, and it is optimized for sudden and volatile traffic. When it comes to application load balancer, it supports, or it works on which layer? It works on which layer? Layer 7. What is layer 7? Application layer. Application layer. So it supports HTTP and HTTPS protocol. This application layer, this application load balancer operates at the request level. It operates at the request level. So what it supports, what type of routing it supports? Can I define a routing in my listeners based on the host of the application, based on the path of the application? Can I define the routing based on the request, based on the content of request? Does it support host-based routing, path-based routing? Yes. What does it mean? What is the meaning of host? What is the meaning of path? We can define the very advanced routing mechanisms here. What is the meaning of host? What is the meaning of path? Let's say this is your URL. In this URL, can I consider this as a path? Whatever here after this, whatever I have, can I consider this as a path, whatever it is after this? Can I consider this as a host? Can I consider this as a host, whatever I have till here? Can I consider this as a host? This is path. Now, with single load balancer, if it is an application load balancer, can I define the routing, advanced routing, if this is the host? If host is this, then can I forward this to one target group where this application is running? Can I forward this to one target group, this target group, let's say? If this is the host, then route the traffic to this target group. If this is the host, can I route the traffic to one more target group where that application is running, where the application servers has been added to this one? If this is the host, can I do something like this? Advanced routing in application load balancer, that is layer 7 load balancer. With single load balancer, will I able to route the traffic to multiple applications? I mean to say multiple target groups in application load balancer? Yes. This is what type of routing? This is what type of routing? Host itself is different. I can define host based routing. Let's assume you have a same host. Let's say you have a same host. Let's say you have domain like this, mithuntechdevops.co.in, java-web-app, mithuntechdevops.co.in /maven-web-application. Host is same. Here, even though path is different, that doesn't matter. Even though path is different here, that doesn't matter, because first of all, is host itself is different here, the domain itself is different here. Yes. So here, if you have these type of things, can I define host based routing? If I have this scenario, host based routing. Now in this case, is host is same? Is host is same in this case? Yes, but what is different? What is different? Path. Is this both applications running in same server, same target group? Is this both applications deployed in same servers, same target group? This both applications I'm talking about. This application and this application, is it deployed in same servers, same target group? No, different. So if it is in a different servers, different target groups, do I need to differentiate and route the traffic to the respective target group? Yes. So in that case, can I use something like this path-based routing? If path is something like this, I can use regular expression also. Anything after this, anything after this, anything after this, regular expression also. If path is this, then can I route the traffic to this target group where this application is hosted? And here, if path is like this, can I differentiate and route the traffic to different target group, route the traffic to this target group like this? So this way, will I able to support multiple applications behind single application load balancer using these advanced routing mechanisms like host-based routing, path-based routing? Yes. But if it is a network load balancer, do you have these type of advanced routing mechanisms at a network, application level? No, because network load balancer works at layer 4. Will I able to intercept the request and identify the request, whether what is the host, what is the path? Will I able to intercept and identify if it is a layer 4 network load balancer? No. But if it is layer 7 application load balancer, will I able to intercept and identify what is the host, what is the path? Based on that, I can do the routing. Now, let me demonstrate that. Let me demonstrate that application load balancer. So this application load balancer is ideal for advanced applications like microservices and all those things. But compared to the network and application load balancer, which one will give the better performance? Which one is capable of handling millions of requests? NLB. Application also gives better performance. This application load balancer also gives the better performance, but comparatively with network, which one give better performance? NLB. Okay. Now let me create application load balancer. But in that application load balancer, can I use these target groups which is created on TCP protocol? These target groups are created on TCP protocol. Will I able to use these target groups in that application load balancer? When I'm going to create application load balancer, there also I will have a listener. There also I will have a target group concept. Will I able to use these target groups which is created on TCP protocol in application load balancer? No. No. So first, can I create a target group first, or can I create a target group while creating a load balancer also? You can do anything. You can create a target group first, then load balancer, or while creating a load balancer also you can create a target group. First, let me create a target group. You may have a question, sir, you already have a target group. Why you are creating? On which protocol these target groups are created? If you see TCP, does these target groups can be used when I'm creating application load balancer? No. So that's why, can I create another target group for application load balancers? Yes. So I'm creating a target group. Target is different, target group is different. Am I again creating a servers? Am I again creating a targets? Am I again creating a servers and deploying that application? No. I already have a targets, I already have a servers, but I'm just creating a target group. Now I'm saying something like this: Maven web app target group. Now in which protocol I'm creating this target group? HTTP. And what is my port? On which port the Tomcat, my application, is running? 8080. So I will say 8080. Now, in which network I have those target? I have to create this target group. And in which network I have targets? Here. Here. Now, health checks. Health checks. As I told, if it is a application load balancer, will I able to perform health checks on the application itself? If you see, can I see on which path, on which context I have to check health? Now, if I am giving like this, if your application is running on root context, is it going to perform health on that root context? Yes. But is my application is directly running on the root context? My application API context is root as of now? No. So what is my application root context? For this application, can I use this as a root context for this application? Can I perform the health on this application? I am creating a target group for that one only. Can I use something like this? Give forward slash also. Give forward slash also. Like this. Now, is it going to perform health on that server, whatever is part of this target group? And is it going to invoke some kind of a curl or wget in the background? And is it going to invoke curl or wget on the IP of that servers, which is part of the target group, on this port and also this path? So is it able to perform the health on the application rather than the port if it is an application load balancer? Yes. Now, healthy threshold. Healthy threshold. 5. What does it mean? Consecutively, how many times the load balancer will expect that health checks to be successful? Healthy threshold 5, which means continuously 5 times it is expecting. If required, if I am thinking this is very high, can I make it 3? Can I customize? Yes. This unhealthy threshold is 2, which means continuously, if health check is failed continuously 2 times, then will it consider as a failure? Will that considered as unhealthy? Continuously 2 times. Continuously 2 times. If it is not getting a success response, then it will consider as a failure. Continuously 2 times. If it is continuously 2 times it is not getting success code, then it will consider as unhealthy. This is unhealthy threshold. If required, can I keep it 1 also, which means 1 time it is getting unsuccessful code, then it will mark as unhealthy. Better take 2 times, because temporarily sometimes you may not get response, so better keep it 2 times. Continuously, if 2 times it is not getting success code, then will it mark that as unhealthy? That load balancer will mark that machine as unhealthy? Yes. So what is this timeout? What is this timeout? What is the meaning of timeout? Timeout is basically within these many seconds, if application is not responding, still it will be considered as a failure. Suppose your application is running, but it is not responding before this many seconds. It is taking more time. Can we still consider that as a failure? We have a SLA. Each application will have a SLA. What is SLA? Service level agreements. Service level agreements. They will say this application, this page or this application should be able to come up, I mean to say should be loaded within 1 second, 2 seconds, like that they will define. Just to make it simple, you are one of the end user. Let's say you are typing flipkart.com. Suppose this is taking like 2 minutes to fully come up. This page is taking 2 minutes to load. When you are clicking on this login button, it is taking 5 minutes to log in. Do you like those type of applications? No, right? So do you need to have a better performance in the application also? As a owner of that application, as a owner of that company, you will make sure that application should be accessible very quickly. Your application is available, but it is taking more time. Your application is available, but it is taking more time. Your application is running, but it is taking more time. So applications will have a SLAs also, service level agreements. Application should be loaded very quickly like that. Even the application is running, let's say, if it is taking more time to respond from that server, if it is not responding within 5 seconds, does this will be marked as unhealthy even though it is working? If it is not responding within 5 seconds, it will be marked as unhealthy. Now, as per your requirement, can you change this timeout also? Suppose 10 seconds timeout, 20 seconds timeout also like this. Can you modify as per your requirement? Yes. Then what is this interval? What is this interval? How frequently health check has to be performed? So how frequently? Every 30 seconds this health check will be performed. And success code. Since it's an application load balancer, HTTP health checks, it supports HTTP or HTTPS health checks. So 200 represents what? 200 represents what in HTTP status codes? Success. Success. Suppose you are expecting maybe 201 or 202 or 204 like that. Will you able to modify? Suppose you are expecting 301 success code. Will you able to modify as per your requirement this health checks? Yes. Now let me show you. Let me first log into one of my server, Jump server. Let me log into one of my Jump server. Let me SSH to one of my Jump server. I just duplicated the tab. This tab is still there, other side. I'm logging into one of the server. Let's say, let me log into this jump server just to show that what is the status code it is returning. Now from here, I'm just trying to curl that application from that application. You may have a question, sir, why you can't curl from your laptop? Why you went to that server? Because it is just a private server. I cannot do that from my laptop. So I'm accessing like this, that server maven-web application. I'm not giving this forward slash. If you see, it is one second. I think is that running in that server? I need to check. I think Tomcat is not running. Tomcat is not running. So let me do the telnet. HTTP not required. That is not required actually. Telnet. This IP and port I am just checking. I think Tomcat is not running. If you see, if Tomcat is running in that server, am I going to get some message saying that connected, or maybe port is blocked? Is something to do with port? Let's see. Yesterday, I think we blocked that port. Huh? Yeah, correct. If you see, did we block that port yesterday? In this server, is port 88 is opened? No. So let me open. Let me open that port 80 for now. Now I have opened the port. I should be able to. Now it's connected on that port. Now I'm checking my application. So if you see, what is the status code it is returning when I am using like this? 302. What is 302 indicates, guys? What is 302 indicates? Redirection. it is redirecting to something else. So you have to use like this forward slash. Now, if I define health check like this, just like this, if I define health check like this, just like this here, so is it going to return 200? If I define like this, just like this slash, just like this, is it going to return 200 or is it returning 302? 302. In that case, do I need to use this as 302? If it is 200, will it consider as a failure? Because you are expecting 200, you are getting 302. Will it consider as a failure? Yes. Now, let me append this slash again. Let me append this slash again. Now, if I am appending that slash again, forward slash here, redirection is happening. So what is it is returning? What is the status code it is returning? 200. So can I have something like this in my health check? Yes. So this is my health check. I am creating a target group using these health checks. Now can I select these two servers in which that application is running? Even though I select this server, is that health check will be successful against this server? Is my application is running in that server? Is that application is running in that server? Is that application is running in that server? No. So will it be shown as unhealthy even though I select this server? Because it is performing the health on the application. If I select this one, does this will be shown as unhealthy? Unhealthy forever? This server against this server. Yes. Why? Do you have this application deployed? Do I have that application deployed in this server? No. So I'll not select this one. But against these two servers, is that health check is going to be performed? Yes. But I have done some small mistake. On which port it has to be created? 8080. Somehow it is changed to 8079. Let me come back. Let me click on this previous button. Let me click on this previous button. Let me make it 8080. Now health checks already defined properly. Let me click on next. Now can I select these two servers? Click on include as pending below and click on this create target group. Similarly, can I create a target group for one more server, one more application? One more application. I am creating something like this. Java web app TG target group. On which port, which protocol? HTTP protocol 8080. This network. In health checks, can I define my health checks like this? This application, Java-web-app, something like this. This application context, the other application. So can I define like this? That with health check, which path it has to perform the health check? Yes. So if you want to reduce 3 to like this, 200 status code. If you want to verify, you can verify. Now in this server, I have that application. In this server, I am taking that IP from this machine. I am using that IP. I am just using that IP curl 8080 slash java-web-app. It is returning 302 because it is redirecting to this one again. It is redirecting to this one again. So can I directly use like this? Now is it returning response with 200? So can I have that as a health check path here? Can I have that as a health check path here like this? Yes. You can customize based on your requirement. Now click on next. I am going to select this server. As of now, I am demonstrating with only one server. If required, can I have 10 servers or 5 servers in which that application is deployed? Yes. As of now, I am just demonstrating with one server. I am clicking on that include as pending below, created a target group. Now, can I create a load balancer, application load balancer now to route the traffic? First, let me delete these two. Let me delete these two. Even though you have, it is not a problem. Even though you have these load balancers, it's not a problem. But let me delete so that you can understand better. I'm deleting these two load balancers. Guys, one more important thing here. Can I delete the target groups? If the target groups are used in any load balancer, before deleting those load balancer, will I able to delete the target groups first? No. So first I am deleting these load balancers. Then can I delete these target groups? These two, whatever I created on TCP protocol, can I delete these two because the load balancer itself is deleted? So can I delete this if required? If you want to leave it, leave it. If you want to leave it, leave it. Otherwise, you can go and delete these two, whatever is created on TCP protocol. It is not mandatory, just I am showing how to clean up. Now, I am creating a load balancer. Before I create a load balancer, guys, now if you access this application, will it work? If you access this application, will it work? Why it is not working? What is the problem? First of all, do you have the load balancer? Yeah, itself deleted. The load balancer itself is deleted. So we don't have any load balancer. So it is not able to route the traffic to the load balancer itself. Now I am creating a application load balancer now to demonstrate application load balancer. Let me give some name, application load balancer. Let me give some name, anything. Now again, same concept, scheme. What type of load balancer, whether internet facing, internal. So this is as per my current requirement, it should be what? Internet facing load balancer. In which VPC I have to create this load balancer? Do I need to create this in the load balancer in same VPC where I have my target groups and targets? Yes. So same VPC. As I already told, minimum how many public subnets are required for internet facing load balancer? Minimum 2. So here I am selecting public subnets. Select public subnet. Select public subnet. Public. Now, if you see one more difference here, if I am creating application load balancer, will I able to create a security group at the load balancer itself? Application load balancer, if you see, do I have an option to use security group at a load balancer level itself? Yes. But do I have this option when I'm using network load balancer? No. So this security group is for which one? Is the security group is for your servers or the security group is for your load balancer? This security group is for your load balancer. Suppose in this security group, if I don't open the port 80, will I able to reach the load balancer itself if I don't open that port 80 or port 443? If I don't open, will it able to reach load balancer itself? No. This is the default security group. This is the default security group. Later also I can modify, or if required, will be able to create a security group here by clicking on this button where I can open only port 480 and port 443. Yes. Later also you can modify in this security group, or you can create here. If you are creating on this button, if you are clicking on this button, it is opening one more tab here. Can I create a security group saying that something like this, Mithun Tech ALB security group, description, allow HTTP and HTTPS ports like this, description. In which VPC I need to create this security group? Do I need to create this security group in the same VPC in which I am creating the load balancer? Yes. So I'm going to select this one, this one. Now here, this is the only location where you are going to open this port. Port 80, you can open like this 80. And if you are trying to access on 443, this is the only location you will open like this, 80 and 443. 80 and 443. You can open like this. For now, I am just opening 80. I will open this 443 later also if required. Later also, can I modify these inbound rules? Oh, sorry, I am changing, 1 second guys. I am changing outbound rules. I am modifying outbound rules. So don't do that. Outbound should be what? Outbound should be always all traffic everywhere. So don't modify anything in the outbound. Don't modify anything in the outbound. Outbound should be all traffic everywhere. So modify in the inbound. In the inbound, can I open this 80 for everywhere for now? This is for load balancer. Later I will open 443 also. Anytime can I modify this inbound rules, outbound rules? Once the security group is created also, yes. So I am creating a security group like this. Inbound, I am opening 80 only. Outbound, don't modify anything. Create a security group. Now here in the other tab, if I refresh this one, it will show. If I refresh this button, it will show whatever is recently created. Now here, instead of using this load balance, this security group, I clicked on into. Here, can I select that one? This whatever load balancer I created, Mithun Tech ALB security group. Yes. In this security group, did I open port 80 for everyone? Internet facing load balancer? Yes. Now here, listener. That load balancer listener. Here in the listener, any request comes to load balancer on this port. What is the target group? By default, I will forward to some target group. Later, I will add the rules. Later, I will add the rules. This is default action. This is default action. I will forward to this target group. Later, I will add that rules, host based or path based. Later, I will do that. Now, with all these things, I am creating a load balancer. Now, do I have a load balancer? Does load balancer has a listener on 80? Is it going to forward the traffic to this target group? This is default action. If you don't have any rules are not matching, host based or path based are not defined, are not matching with any rule, then it will forward to which target group? To this target group, this default target group. Now, the load balancer is coming up. Let's wait for some time. This is coming up. It is still provisioning. Still provisioning. It will take 2-3 minutes. Now, this is my load balancer name. Again, is it a meaningful name, guys? No. Then what concept I can do again? What concept I can use? Again, DNS. If you don't have a domain, how can you define? As I already told, will you do, can you do the NS lookup on this one and get the IP and have those entries in your host file in your local laptop? Yes, you can do that. Now, in your host file, if you are practicing host-based routing, can you define something like this in your host file? You are practicing host-based routing. Can I define something like this in your host file? Can you define something like this? This one also points to the same IP, and other also points to the same IP. Can you point to the same load balancer? Both domains point to the same load balancer IP here in your host file. This is also same load balancer. This is also same load balancer. If you are practicing path-based routing, can I have something like this in your host file? Can you have something like this and map to that IP, that load balancer IP in your host file? Yes. If you don't have a domain, but I have a domain, will I able to do that in the DNS servers itself? That mapping? Yes. Now, if you see, I am able to access something like this. Maven-web-application. Now, is it able to route the traffic to that application via that load balancer? And also, since port 80 is opened, is it allowing? Since port 80 is opened, is it allowing? Yes. Let's consider in your load balancer, you have a security group. In your load balancer, you have a security group, this security group. If you go and modify these security groups, if you don't open that port 80, again, will you able to access this one? This security group, if I modify this inbound rules, if I modify, I am not opening for everywhere. I am opening for some different range like this. Let's consider I'm opening for different range like this. Again, is that load balancer will allow the request from machines which is not part of that range? Again, if you see this time, am I going to access? Do you guys able to reach this one from your system or from my system? No. So let me do that. Let me modify again. I don't want to waste all this time because you already know. So let me open for everywhere. Let me open for everywhere. Now, since I opened for everywhere, am I able to access that application? You guys also able to access? Yes. But I don't like this name. Before I go there, now I am trying to access other application like this. Other application like this. 404. Why 404? What is happening? Why I am getting 404? It is nothing to do with forward slash also. It is nothing to do with forward slash also. Why 404? Because as of now, I have this listener. It is routing the traffic to this target group. In this target group, do I have this application, guys? Do I have this application deployed? No, I don't have that application deployed. So it is forwarding to this target group. Did I added that rules here? At least if this is the path, route the traffic to different target group, did I added that rule as of now? No. But if I add those rules, does load balancer will be able to do the routing based on that rules, whatever you are going to define? Yes. But before that, let me show you. Let me map this with my domains. Let me map with this my domains. First, let me go to Route 53. Let me go to Route 53. Here, in my hosted zone, my domains are pointing to different load balancers. Do I have those load balancers as of now? These two are pointing to two different load balancers. Do I have those load balancers as of now? No. Now, can I edit this record? Can I select this record and edit record? So can I point this now to that application load balancer? This one also to the same application load balancer, both domains. Can I point to the same load balancer now? Yes, let me do that. So here, instead of network load balancer, I am selecting application load balancer. In which region my application load balancer? Mumbai, this one. Similarly, can I modify other one also, other domain also? So instead of network, application load balancer is in Mumbai region. Select that load balancer, save it. Now, is those domains are going to resolve to the application load balancer? Is both domains resolve to the same IP? Is this domain and this domain resolve to same IP, that load balancer IP? Yes. Now let me access like this. Let me access like this. This is working. This is working because as of now, did I define any type of routing, whether if host is this, route to something, host is this, route to something, I have not defined. So is it routing the traffic to the default target group, default action? Yes. But if I try to access other application, why I am getting 404 again? To which target group? This is also getting forwarded by that load balancer. By that load balancer, this request is also going to which target group? The default target group only. The default target group only. Because did I added any rules based on the host route the traffic to this target group or that target group? As of now, no. Now, can I add those rules now in my load balancer? Can I add those rules now in my load balancer listener? That host based routing or path based routing, can I define? Yes. Now, let's say this is my load balancer. I have a listener. Here, do I have an option view or edit rules? View or edit rules here? Yes. Let me click on this. Now, as of now, no condition. Nothing is there. Default action only. Now, can I create some additional rules here by clicking on this plus button? Click on this plus button. Again, click on this insert rule here. Condition. If host header, that is host. If host is this one, maven webapp.mithuntechdevops.co.in, then if host is this, what action? Then what action? Can I forward to this target group? If this is the host, can I forward to this target group? Yes. This target group. Let me click on save. Similarly, can I create one more rule for other host? Click on plus button again. Click on insert rule again. If host header, if this is the host, java webapp.mithuntechdevops.co.in, forward it to this target group. Guys, even though you don't have a domain, will you be able to practice this host-based routing, path-based routing in the load balancer by having these mappings with your load balancer IP in your host file? In your host file, you can map this one with your load balancer IP. You can practice this one, this host-based routing, path-based routing. Now I am doing that. Here, let me click on save. Now the rules we have. If host is this, route the traffic to this one. If host is this, route the traffic to this one. Now if you see, this time, since this is the host, and is it going to route the traffic to that target group? This target group. In the target group, we have that application. If I refresh, am I able to see the response now? Is it routing the traffic to that respective target group? From the target group, is the request is going to the respective server? Yes. Now this will work as expected again. This will work as expected. This is host based routing. Then what is the meaning of path based routing? What is the meaning of path based routing? If the host is same, something like this. If host is same, this is getting changed. Now can I define path based routing also if required? Let me show that. First of all, do I have that mapped with my load balancer? That mithuntechdevops.co.in. Is this mapped with my load balancer? First of all, is this domain is mapped with my load balancer? First of all, forget about this one. No. So can I do this again in Route 53? Can I create a record set in Route 53? If you don't have a Route 53, where do you map this one? Something like this in your host file. Now let me do that in Route 53. I'll create a record. I'll create a record. I'm not giving anything here. So if anyone access like this, mithuntechdevops.co.in, A type, will I again select to that load balancer only? That application load balancer which is there in Mumbai region? Which means, is this domain also resolved to this load balancer IP? This one, mithuntechdevops.co.in. If I do like this, yes. Now that is done. Now if I access like this, after some time, it will take some time to reflect in DNS servers. It will take some time to reflect in DNS servers. So mithuntechdevops.co.in is also pointing to the same load balancer, but it will take some time to reflect in the DNS servers. For me, it is taking some time based on the DNS servers, based on the ISP I am using. For you guys, you might be getting, some guys might be getting 404. Why 404? Why 404? Because did I define anything on this host or on this path? Did I define anything in my routing rules? No. So to which target group? Again, default target group. To which target group this is forwarding? The other, that Maven. Do you have this application hosted in the target group in those servers? No. Now, can I define host-based routing if required? Path-based routing if required. This is not working. You are going to get a 404. But if you access other like this, you are getting a response, because even though you have not defined anything on this one, is it routing the traffic to the default one because of the conditions are not matched with anyone? Yes. So are you guys getting response when you access like this? This one, this application you might be getting a response, but this application you might be getting a 404. This application you might be getting a 404. Why for me it is taking so much time? For why me it is taking so much time? That is depends on the DNS servers. To which DNS servers the queries are going, DNS lookup. As of now, I connected to this network internet, and these are the DNS servers of that network. So in these DNS servers, it is not yet available. The DNS is not in sync as of now. For now, I will modify for now. I will, instead of these DNS servers, what comes with my ISP, I am using these DNS servers. So what is these DNS servers? These are Google DNS servers. 8.8.8, 4.4.4, these are Google DNS servers. So I'm just updating in my local laptop. Because in the actual DNS servers, whatever is used by my ISP is not reflecting. So that's why I updated. Now if you see this one 404, other one response is coming. I will modify the rules. Now here again in my listener, again can I add some rules? The way I have added host based, can I similarly add path based also? Insert rule. If path is this, anything after this, any subpath after this, regular expression star, anything after this also fine. Can I forward this to this target group like this? If this is the path, yes. And one more rule. This is not required, but that is default one. It is forwarding, but still I am defining. If this is the path, can I forward the traffic to that target group, other target group, which is already happening because that is the default one. But let me do that. Now this time when I access like this, is it working? Instead of 404, are we getting a response now? So this way, will I able to define advanced routing rules in application load balancer, layer 7 load balancer? Yes. And you observe one more thing, guys. You access this application via application load balancer. If you see earlier, the client IP, when I was using network load balancer, was my system IP was showing as client IP? Was my system, my laptop IP, was it showing as client IP here when I was using application load balancer? Sorry, when I was using network load balancer. When I was using network load balancer, my system IP, my laptop IP is showing as client IP here. But when I am using application load balancer, this is showing as client IP. Is it my IP? That is my IP? That is my IP? No. So, as I already told, the load balancer, till load balancer, you are the client. Till load balancer, you are the client. But the load balancer, is it carrying its own IP address to the application servers as a client? Yes. Now, if required, if I am using application load balancer in my application servers, instead of opening for 0.0.0, can I open only for load balancer? Which means no one else can access the application except load balancer, except via load balancer. So here in my servers here, instead of opening port 8080 for everywhere, can I open only for my load balancer? Which means if the request is coming via load balancer, then only it will allow. Otherwise, does anyone can access that application from any other way? No. So how to do that if required? Let me go to the security group, edit inbound rules. Instead of opening like this, 8080, I can open for that range, my VPC range. If you see, is my load balancer is also using one of the IP within that range? If you see this IP address, the load balancer, is it using one of the IP within that range? I can open like this also. Only for that range. Otherwise, can I use security group here? The security group which I used in the load balancer. Can I use security group, not only range? Can I use the security group which is used in this load balancer? This security group. Can I use this security group here? Which means if the request is coming from that one, whatever server or whatever load balancer is using this security group, then only it will allow. Here, you can use a security group also. but let me get that security group details properly, or let me type with this name. So use this name. So I am using this security group, which means if the request is coming from any server or any load balancer which is using this security group, then only it will allow. Otherwise, will it allow? Any server or any load balancer which is using this security group, if the request is coming from that one, then only it will allow. So where I am using this security group? Where I am using this security group? Is this security group is used in my application load balancer? You can define something like this: port 80, 80, in your application server, open for only that security group, like this. Then only via load balancer it will work. Maybe in all the servers you can do that. In all the servers you can do that. So this way, am I restricting, am I blocking requests on that port directly from any other servers except load balancer? Anyone can reach that server on that port. So can I achieve more security in the network using these security groups? Basically firewall concept. Will I able to block request? Kind of a gates. You are closing the gates. You are tightening your gates. Except load balancer, no one can reach that one. Except load balancer, no one can reach that server on that port. Like I am opening for port 8080 for that security group. Like this. Now, if I am request is coming via load balancer, then only it will work. But anyone can reach directly that server now, even this jump server. Even this jump server. Now, if you see, even this jump server, is it able to reach now? Is it able to reach that server on port 80? Is it able to access that application? No. But in the jump server, if I am using that security group, same security group, whatever I have given as a source, then will it able to reach? If I am using that security group in the jump server, again, it will work. So this way, can I use security groups to block my request except load balancer, except application load balancer? Will I able to reach that application directly from any other systems, internal systems or external systems? Whether it's an internal system or external system, will I able to reach that application on that port by bypassing load balancer? No. So this is how we can use. Is everyone clear what is application load balancer, how it works, what are the features we have in application load balancer? What best practices needs to be followed, especially firewall security groups? You might have practiced from day one. You might have opened all traffic everywhere. Is it recommended all traffic everywhere for any server? No. Only open whatever ports is required, again for whatever IPs or whatever systems it is required. But since it's a load balancer, do I need to open port 80 for everyone? I mean to say 0.0.0 at the load balancer level, because that is the entry point for any application. So I need to open port 80 for everyone in the load balancer, which we have already done. Now one more thing here, I am able to access like this my application. Now one more important concept is there here. On which protocol my request is going to my application servers or my load balancers? And which protocol it is going as of now? HTTP. If you see, is it secured? Is it recommended to expose your application on HTTP? No. Why it is not secured? If you see any application you take, Flipkart.com or lic.india.in, what this padlock symbol represents, guys? This LIC India, Flipkart.com or Citibank.com. You see this padlock symbol in the browser, SBI.com. Any application you take, what is this padlock symbol represents? Basically, the protocol, secured. So on which protocol this is running? On which protocol they are, opening this application? HTTPS. So what is HTTP? What is HTTPS? What is the full form of HTTP? What is the full form of HTTPS? Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This S additional secure. Hypertext Transfer Protocol secure. What is the difference between secure and this non-secure? Now let's take this one. Let's take this one. Let's take this one. This as an example. Okay. Now I am one of the client. So here I am accessing my application. I am one of the client of this Mithun Technologies. Let's say you are one of the client of this Mithun Technologies. Let's say you are accessing like this from your system. You are accessing like this. You already know, first request goes to DNS servers. DNS server will resolve to that IP. Request goes to that load balancer. Based on the rules, whether it's a host based, path based, whatever it is, based on that it is going to send the traffic to the respective server. But how the data is getting transferred over network, over internet, as of now, whatever data, let's take this application itself. Suppose this is running on HTTP. Suppose I am providing my username, I am providing my password, and the moment I click on this submit button, from this end user system, if it is on HTTP, how the data will be transferred to your load balancers and your application servers? In which format it will go? How the data will be transferred from end user system to the application servers? If it is HTTP, if it is running on HTTP, it will go in a human readable format. The data will be transferred in a plain text format. If it is on HTTP. Now, the middleman attacks, the hackers, So, will they able to read what data is getting exchanged between the client and server? What data is being exchanged between client and server if it is non-secure? Will they able to understand? We call this as a middleman attack. So if it is transferred from this system to your application servers or load balancers, data is getting exchanged in a plain text format. The middleman attack or hackers, will they able to read what data is getting transferred in the internet over network? If it is a plain text, yes. Then will they able to understand what is your username, what is your password which you are typing and sending to the server? So is it a safe? Is it a best practice to run your application on HTTP? No. So that is where HTTPS comes into picture. That is where HTTPS comes into picture. If I am using HTTPS, does the data will be transferred over network in the internet or intranet also? Can we transfer the data in a encrypted format? Scrambling. The data will be scrambling and sending over the network. So if the data is getting encrypted and transferred over network, even though hackers try to hack that data, will they able to understand what data is being exchanged between client and server? No. To understand that data, do they need to have the respective keys, encryption keys and decryption keys to read that, understand the data? Yes. But these guys will not have those keys. So only the browser and the server can understand the data. Browser can understand what data is coming back from the server, and server can understand what data is coming from the browser. The client and server only can understand. Does any other person, the middleman, without having those keys, will they able to understand what data is being transferred in the network? No. So that's why if you see any application is directly running on HTTP, Google ratings will, Google will give ratings to some websites. Does Google will give some better ratings if the application is running on HTTP? No. So it is not going to be a best practice. So that's why you see any application you take, is it saying connection is secure with padlock symbol? This is HTTPS. So how can I configure HTTPS now? How can I configure HTTPS now? There is one concept here called SSL and or TLS, certificates. We need certificates. Certificates, basically again certificates are like a key value pairs. Certificates are like a key value pairs. So do I need to configure my application, my website with SSL or TLS certificates so that it will use those certificates for encryption and decryption between the client and server? Again, certificates is very big concept. This SSL and TLS is very big concept again. So what is SSL and what is TLS in the short form? Let me quickly explain. SSL, what is the full form of SSL? What is the full form of TLS? This SSL, secure socket layer. What is the full form of TLS? Transport layer security. Transport layer security. So which one is latest? Which one is latest? This basically TLS. TLS. So this is the successor of SSL. TLS is a successor of SSL. What is the meaning of successor? Nowadays people call, right, like just to make it simple, successor, just to make it simple, people call Ram Charan as a successor of Chiranjeevi, or people call Junior NTR is a successor of Senior NTR. They are carrying that legacy, right, that fame, like that. So initially people started using which one? Initially in early days of IT, there is a concept of SSL. So what is the successor or advanced version or next version of SSL? Nowadays people are using what? TLS. What is the full form of TLS? Transport layer security. Again, here there are multiple concepts: symmetric keys, asymmetric keys, algorithms basically. Just to make it simple how it works, let me tell you. If you have configured certificates, let's say you configured certificates here with your load balancer. The moment any request goes to load balancer, what load balancer does? First, it will send the key. It will send some key. So I want to establish a secure connection with you. I am sending one key to you. It will send one key to this guy. Then what will happen? Once this is done, this guy also will communicate, yes, I received your key. It is going to acknowledge. It is going to send some data. The browser is going to acknowledge that key, yes, I have received your key. And again, this server will respond back with one private key. It's like a three-way handshake. Once this handshake is happen, this browser will encrypt the data and send the data. It will use encryption mechanism with whatever key this guy is issued to this guy. This browser will encrypt the data with whatever key this guy is sending to this guy in the handshake. Then data will be encrypted using that keys and will be sent to the load balancer. Does load balancer will have other key to decrypt the data? Is load balancer is going to hold that key, other key to decrypt the data? Yes. So it will decrypt the data whatever is being sent from this machine. So in this way, does middleman can understand what communication is happening between this guy and this guy, what data is being sent? No. Now we can configure the certificates at load balancer, and also we can configure certificates that SSL or TLS certificates at the load balancer. If I configure my certificates at the load balancer, does my application can be accessed securely using HTTPS protocol? Can I secure my communication between the network, the data exchange in the network? Yes. And also, what is the one more thing we can do here? One more thing what we can do here. This load balancer will do the SSL termination. SSL termination, or we call it as a SSL offloading. SSL termination or SSL offloading. What is the meaning of SSL termination and what is the meaning of SSL termination or offloading? Because from here till load balancer, data will be sent in an encrypted format. If that load balancer will send the data as is to your application servers, will it work? Does application will able to understand that data? No. So does that offloading will happen here? Which means, does this load balancer will offload that SSL and will send the data to your application servers in a, again, normal plain text from load balancer to application? Yes. But you may have a question, sir, then can't they reach this? Can't they, these guys cannot attack this layer? Can't they do this one? Will they able to do this, guys? Here? No. Why? Why can't they do? Because is this is a private network? Is this is a private network from here to here? Is it a private network from here to here? Will they able to reach this network and gather the data? No. But in the internet, is it possible? In the internet, it is possible. Yes. So that's why in the public network, can we exchange the data securely using this SSL and TLS certificates? Yes. But here, does this load balancer can do the offloading, that SSL termination or offloading, which means the data will be again decrypted and sent back to your application servers. So this way, can I configure my SSL at the load balancer itself? Yes. Again, is certificates are free? The way we have a domain, we have a TLS and SSL certificates. Again, is the certificates are free? No. You need to purchase a certificate from, again, certified CA. What is the meaning of CA? Certified authorities. Certified authorities who are certified to issue the certificates. Just to give an example, DigiCert, DigiCert, right? You have a lot of things. If you see here itself, this is using some certificate. Who issued that certificate to this guy? This Flipkart.com. From where they purchase the certificate which they are using? Issued by whom? If you see the certificates which is used by Flipkart, GoDaddy. Similarly, if you see LIC, LIC is also using some certificates. Who issued that one? Some different CA, certified authority. Suppose if you see Citibank or SBI, whatever it is, SBI, again if you see, is this certificates issued by DigiCert for this domain? Retail.onlinesbi.com is a domain. For the domain, did they purchase certificate from the CA and configure that certificate in their load balancers? Yes. So all the browsers, whatever we are using, does all those browsers will trust the certificates if it is from the certified CAs? Yes. Whatever browsers we are using, all these browsers will trust the certificates whatever is issued by the certified CA. If required, can I generate self-signed certificates? Can I generate my own certificate, self-signed certificates? Yes, but is that self-signed certificates will be trusted by your browsers? Are you going to get a warning? This certificate is not valid. It is self-signed certificate. It will give a warning. It is up to you. Your risk now. Whether you want to trust and proceed, it's up to you. I am not trusting this certificate because this is not from a valid CA. So as a user, do you need to take that risk? As an end user, does he need to accept that risk and proceed further if it is a self-signed? Yes. As an end user, he has to accept the risk and proceed further. But does applications will use self-signed certificates? If you use self-signed certificates, no one will trust your website. No one will trust your website if you are using self-signed certificate. So for that reason, do we need to purchase certificates from valid authorities who is certified to issue the TLS and SSL certificates? Yes. Now here, first I need to purchase the certificates. Again, if you want to use this SSL and TLS, first of all, do you need to have a valid domain first? Yes, you need a valid domain first if you want to use the certificates. Can we directly configure certificates at a server level in a Tomcat itself? Is it possible to configure certificates? Yes, that is possible, but a lot of overhead will happen, because if you configure certificates at the Tomcat level, at the application server itself in the Tomcat, first, does the Tomcat has to offload that SSL, then process the request? Yes. So instead of that, will you able to do it? Will you able to do it at the load balancer level? That offloading will be taken off from the application server. That offloading will be taken care by load balancer. So do we have, your application will only perform the application logic, not offloading this SSL and all those things. Your load balancer can do the offloading. Your application will process your logic. So that's why you can do it. If you need security more inside the network also, can I configure certificates at the application server itself, at the Tomcat level itself? Yes, you can do that. That is different process again. Now, I want to configure certificates. Do I need a valid domain first to purchase certificates? Yes. Now, in AWS also, we have one service. In AWS also, we have one service called ACM. What is ACM? This is one more service. The way we discussed all these things, right? ELB, Route 53. Similarly, there is one more service called ACM. What is this ACM stands for? AWS Certificate Manager. AWS Certificate Manager. Using this ACM service, will I able to provision and manage the certificates? Will I able to provision in the sense, will I able to create and use those certificates in AWS using this ACM? Yes. So first of all, do I need a certificate now? Yes. So let me go to ACM. ACM. What is ACM? Certificate Manager. AWS Certificate Manager. Using this service, what we can do? Here itself you can understand. Provision. What is the meaning of provisioning? Creating or purchasing. Creating or purchasing. Provisioning, managing, and deploying those SSL or TLS certificates. So let me go to this ACM. Guys, if you don't have a domain, valid domain, don't do anything here. Just understand. Don't create anything here if you don't have a valid domain. So I have a domain. I am provisioning the certificate also. I provisioned some time back. Let me delete this. Let me delete this. For the last batch, I provisioned this one. Let me delete and show from beginning. Now, as of now, do I have any certificates provisioned in AWS? No. So here, let me request. Let me click on this request. I am provisioning the certificate. I am provisioning the certificate. Here, when I am provisioning the certificate, do I need to give the domain name for which domain you are purchasing the certificate? Yes. So can I give something like this? mithuntechdevops.co.in. This is my valid domain. If required, can I purchase for subdomains also like this? I can give star dot also. What is the meaning of star dot? This is a star that can be wildcard. That can be anything before that star. That can be anything before that star. Like www.mithuntechdevops.co.in or javawebapp.mithuntechdevops.co.in or jenkins.mithuntechdevops.co.in, something like that. I can give regular expression also. Otherwise, can I give like this also if required? Maven webapp.mithuntechdevops.co.in like this, and also java webapp.mithuntech.co. Like this. I can give like this also for which domain you are purchasing. Otherwise, can I give like this wildcard? Yes, you can give like this also for which domain you are purchasing. Now, while we are purchasing the certificates, we need to validate. You need to prove that you are the owner of the domain, because anyone can go and purchase the certificate. I can, while purchasing the certificate, I can say I am purchasing the certificate for this domain. But do I need to prove that I am the owner of that domain with certificate authorities? Otherwise, it will be like a mess up, right? So we need to prove that you are the owner of that certificate. So do I need to validate that DNS? I am the owner of that domain. For whatever domains I am purchasing CA certificates, I need to prove that I am the owner. So there are two types of validation it is supporting. One is DNS validation, another one is email validation. So I am going to use this DNS validation. I will prove that I am the owner by creating some more records in the DNS. By creating some more records in the DNS, I will prove that I am the owner. So I am selecting this DNS validation. I am purchasing a certificate. I am purchasing a certificate. Now I have a certificate. AWS has issued the certificate, but what is the current status of that certificate? Pending for validation. Do I need to prove that I am the owner of this domain now? So how to validate? Let me go here. Let me go here inside this certificate. Here, by creating some records in DNS, by creating some records in Route 53, can I prove that I am the owner of this domain? Yes. So I can click on this one, create records in Route 53. it will create some records. It will create some records, CNAME records. It will create CNAME records. I clicked on this create records. So it is going to create some records in Route 53. Let's wait for some time. Somehow it is taking a lot of time. Now it has it has take some time to generate this one. Now click on this one. Can I manually go and create in my Route 53 hosted zone record of type with this as CNAME, this as C value? I can do that manually, or I can do this by clicking on this button also, create records. Now in my Route 53, it has created some records with those values. In my Route 53, can I see that CNAME record here with those values? This is CNAME record name and this is the value, whatever it was showing here. So with this, did I prove that I am the owner? I am the owner of this domain. It will take some time to reflect here. It will take some time to reflect here. Let me keep refreshing this one. It will show here. It's validated. It will show here after some time. It will be validated. It will take some time. Let it be. Now, once this is done, now the certificate is issued and validation is also completed. Now, can I use this certificate in my load balancer? Whether I am using application load balancer, whether I am using network load balancer, can I use certificates? Yes, you can use, irrespective whether you are using application or network, you can use. Now, I am going to this application load balancer. I am going to this application load balancer. Here, my application load balancer. Can I create a listener? One listener which listens on 443. What is the 443, guys? If I select HTTPS, already it is showing 443. What is 443? Secure HTTPS. Default action. Again, default action. I will forward this to some target group. Default action. I will forward this to some target group if request comes to load balancer on this one. Now here, can I use certificate here? Can I use certificate whatever I have provisioned from that ACM? Can I use that certificate here if you see? While creating this listener, it is showing this certificate. I created a listener on 443 and did I use the certificate in that listener? This is the SSL certificate which we have used. Now, if you see, when I am saying HTTPS mithuntechdevops.co.in, this maven-web- application, this HTTPS maven-web- application, I can see on HTTPS also I can access. I can see I can access using HTTPS also. But why I am not able to access? Can you guess why I am not able to reach on HTTPS? Can you guess? Because in this load balancer security group, did I open 443 port? In this inbound rules, did I open 443 port? Whatever load balancer I am using in the application load balancer, no. Now here, let me open 443. Let me open for everywhere. Now I am opening that 443 in the load balancer. Now, is someone can reach a load balancer on 443 HTTPS? Now, can I see this padlock symbol? Can I see this padlock symbol, which means is my application also protected with HTTPS? Who issued certificate for this domain? Who issued certificate for this domain? Amazon. Amazon. ACM. Now, I have only default rule. But here, in this HTTPS listener, do I have this defined? This is defined in HTTPS listener? No. We already defined this path-based, host-based, but where? Where I have defined? Did I define in HTTP listener or HTTPS listener? HTTP. Do I need to define these rules again in HTTPS listener? In this load balancer, I can go to this view or edit rules on HTTPS. Can I define that routing, whatever, path-based or host-based? Not certificates, not certificate, rules. So let's say if this is the path, route the traffic to this target group. Route the traffic to this target group. If other one is the path, route the target to this target group, other target group. Now I have those rules. Is load balancer is able to route the traffic to respect to target groups now on HTTPS? I am able to access this application. I am able to access other application on HTTPS. Other application on HTTPS. Is my application protected with certificates now? Is the data is going to be exchanged between my end users with my applications in an encrypted format over internet? With encrypted format over internet, over network, yes. But one more problem is there still here. Just 2 minutes, guys, I'll wrap up. Still, is my application is accessible still on HTTP also? Is applications are still accessible on HTTP also? If you see, am I able to still access that application on HTTP? Yes. But do I need to explicitly type HTTPS here if I want to communicate securely? I need to explicitly type HTTPS. But does end users knows what is HTTP, what is HTTPS? Do they know what is that anything? No. Then how can I ensure that? How can I ensure that people cannot understand, cannot use on HTTP? Is it possible for me to redirect even though people are accessing on HTTP? Is it possible for me to redirect from HTTP to HTTPS? Yes. Where can I do that? Where can I do that? Can I do that in the load balancer listener? In the listener. In which listener? I'll go to this HTTP listener. I'll go to this HTTP listener. In this listener, in these rules, suppose this is the path. Can I forward, instead of forward, can I redirect it to HTTPS? Instead of forward here, can I change it to redirect to HTTPS here? In HTTP listener, yes. So to do that, click on this edit button. Click on this edit button. Click on this edit again. Now, if this is the path, what I will do? I will delete this. Instead of forward, can I select this redirect to HTTPS? On which port? 443. Redirect to HTTPS 443. Let me update. Similarly, can I update this one also? Instead of forward, can I select redirect to HTTPS on 443 port? So do we have a listener again? In this load balancer, do I have a listener again on 443? Where again I have rules. Now this time, even though I am just typing like this, HTTP, intentionally I am typing, even though I am typing HTTP, intentionally, mithuntechdevOps.co.in, I am intentionally typing HTTP. But do you see, is it automatically redirecting to HTTPS? And without typing HTTP also, you are just typing like this in your browser without HTTP or HTTPS. So is it again redirected to HTTPS? So this way, can I make sure my application is always served on HTTPS securely? So I try to discuss each and everything which is part of load balancing. What is load balancing? What is application load balancer? What is network load balancer? What is health check? What is listener? What is HTTPS? What is HTTP? If required, how to configure certificates also we discussed. Hope everyone is clear. Now this is kind of one application, actual application. Don't consider this as a demo application or sample application. Am I able to access this application the way I am accessing this application now? Is there any difference except the features I can see here? If required, can I also hire some developers to develop some project, some website? I can hire some developers to develop. But the concept of networking, load balancing, certificates, databases, is it going to be different? No, it will be remain same. Thank you guys. That's it for today. Tomorrow I am going to start with one more service called auto scaling. What is auto scaling? Why do we need auto scaling? Very, very important again. Tomorrow I am going to continue that auto scaling. Thank you. If you don't have a domain, don't do anything with ACM. Don't do anything with ACM and Route 53. ACM and Route 53, you can only understand the theory because you don't have a valid domain. So you cannot do anything in Route 53. You cannot do anything in ACM. Okay. So theoretically understand and remember. Okay. Thank you. I'll continue tomorrow with auto scaling.